Madam Chair, I'm showing 10 o'clock.
All righty. Thank you, General Counsel. There's a quorum, and upon confirmation, good morning. I'm Jody Golden. I'm calling to order the February 2022 meeting of the IHCDA Board of Directors. We are meeting virtually today pursuant to the Health Emergency and Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3.7. Since we're meeting virtually, the procedures will be a little bit different from those we are using during our regular board meetings. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a link to a video recording posted on IHCDA's website next month. At the time the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. Votes will then be tallied by roll call. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm who is present. Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, I'm Jody Golden representing the Lieutenant Governor. Mark Pasquarella.
Here.
Indiana Treasurer Kelly Mitchell.
I'm here.
J. June Midkiff.
I'm here.
Andy Place Sr.
I'm here.
G. Michael Schottmeyer.
Present.
Tom McGowan. Tom, I'm not sure if we could hear your.
I apologize. I am on screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. The first item on our agenda today is the approval of the minutes from the January 27th, 2022 board meeting. Are there any questions, board, regarding the January 27th board meeting minutes? Okay. If none, may I have a motion?
Mike Schottmeyer, move for approval.
Andy Place, second.
Okay, we have a motion approval. I'll take roll call once again. Mark Pasquarella.
Yes.
Kelly Mitchell.
Yes.
June Midkiff.
Yes.
Andy Place.
Yes.
Michael Schottmeyer.
Yes.
Tom McGowan.
Yes.
Okay. Hearing no one opposed, the motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to the second portion of our agenda today, the real estate department. Please welcome Megan Bowman to present on bond volume 4% credits at the West Village at Avondale Meadows. Welcome.
Good
Megan.
morning, board. My name is Megan Bowman. I'm a rental housing tax credit specialist on the allocation team. I have two memos to present to you today, two separate 4% tax exempt bond deals. The first one here is the West Village at Avondale Meadows. It is the 21st application we've received in the 2021 AB bond round. It represents a total development cost of $42,332,820, with about 22.5 in bond volume and $1,993,953 in annual LIHTC for 10 years. The developer, BH Affordable, which is related to Pershing Held, plans to build 216 units of affordable new construction in the Avondale Meadows neighborhood of Indianapolis. The development will be welcome infill on a site that has been vacant since 2008. West Village at Avondale will serve as the final piece of Avondale Meadows planned urban development, which has been a multi-year collaboration effort between strategic capital partners and the Meadows Community Foundation. The development will target households earning up to 60% of area median income in an area with increasing demand for more rental units. These 216 units represent a mix of 72 one-bedroom, 84 two-bedroom, and 63 bedrooms across 6 buildings and a clubhouse with indoor and outdoor amenities. During the round, the real estate development staff reviewed the application to ensure it met the criteria set forth in the qualified allocation plan, and I would be happy to take any questions you have at this time about the development.
Board, are there any questions for Megan? None? Okay, if not, could I have a motion to approve?
I'll move for approval and also state that it's great that this project will be happening in the Avondale area.
This is Kelly Mitchell. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll now take roll call. Mark Pascarella,
Yes.
Kelly Mitchell?
Yes.
June Midkiff,
Yes.
Andy Place,
Yes.
Michael Schottmeyer,
Yes.
Tom McGowan.
Yes.
Okay, hearing no one opposed, the motion passes unanimously.
Do you need my resolution?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I forget?
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $22,500,000 in bond volume and $1,993,953 in annual LIHTC to Avondale Meadows LP for West Village at Avondale Meadows according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
General Counsel, do we need to do another roll call or will the first one suffice?
The first one will suffice. She explained everything in her presentation and what she wanted you to vote on. You just voted on it ahead of her reading that into the record. You're okay.
Okay, thanks, board. Thank you, Megan. All right, we're going to continue to hear from Megan to learn about the bond volume 4% credits at the Hodges Commons.
Absolutely. So Hodges Commons was the 22nd application received and reviewed by staff in the 2021 AB round. The project represents a total development cost of $17,331,164 with $13,600,000 in bond volume requested, as well as $825,557 in annual low-income housing tax credits over 10 years. The developer, Woda Cooper Communities, is proposing 78 units of new construction in the International Marketplace neighborhood on Indianapolis's west side near 38th and Lafayette Road area. The development will be comprised of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units at 70%, 60%, and 30% area median income, with a special focus on households in which one or more individuals has an intellectual and developmental disability. Tenants will have access to on-site supportive services provided by Easter Seals Crossroads, as well as cultural amenities within short walking distance, such as a library, hospital, and dozens of international restaurants and shops. Further details can be found in the development summary sheet in Exhibit A. And during the round, real estate development staff reviewed the application to ensure it met the criteria set forth in the qualified allocation plan. And I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
Board, are there any questions for Megan on the Hodges Commons project? Okay, Megan, we'll hear your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approved awarding $13,600,000 in bond volume and $825,557 in annual LIHTC to Hodges Commons Limited Partnership for Hodges Commons according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Okay, board, do I have a motion?
June Midkiff, I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
This is Tom McGowan, second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll now do roll call. Mark Pascarella,
Yes.
Kelly Mitchell,
Yes.
June Midkiff,
Yes.
Andy Place,
Yes.
Michael Schottmeyer,
Yes.
Tom McGowan.
Yes.
Hearing no one opposed, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Section C of our agenda under real estate today is the Section 811 project rental assistance for passage. So please welcome Jeff Z to present on Section 811 project rental assistance for passage. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Good morning, board. I am here to discuss our actually first Section 811 Project Rental Assistance Award that the board will be hearing. This is a new program that we received funding from HUD for, and we worked extensively with FSSA on our application for this program. The program provides rental assistance for non-elderly individuals with disabilities, meaning they're between the ages of 18 and 62, with a more specific target population of persons experiencing homelessness, persons with intellectual or developmental disabilities, and persons living in institutional settings. And creating this application, FSSA and us recognize that there's a large need for this resource in Indiana, and we're excited to be able to bring this to the state and have some new units that are dedicated to serving this population. FSSA certainly expressed a need for housing for individuals who are in institutional settings, but are unable to leave that institutional setting due to a lack of stable housing. This particular project was developed through the 2020 Moving Forward initiative and has committed to serving individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities and providing supportive services to those individuals. This award will provide rental assistance for 25% of those units, or up to 25% of those units. In this case, it's 8 units of the 39 in the project. It's located in Indianapolis on the east side. Inglewood CDC is the developer, and the unit breakdown for the 811 award is 6 1-bedroom units, 1 2-bedroom unit, and 1 3-bedroom unit. For the term of the award, which will be 20 years, we will track the utilization of the awarded vouchers, the total number of IDD households served, and compliance with the program requirements. One thing to note on this project, we have not yet received our official HUD cooperative agreement, so we will not be executing the agreement to enter into a rental assistance contract with the project until we do receive that from HUD. HUD has assured us that we are close to receiving that, and we felt it necessary to bring this to the board today so that we can enter that as soon as we receive that from HUD. We can enter that with the assistance agreement to enter the rental assistance contract with the project so they can proceed. I can take any questions from the board.
Board, anyone have questions for Jeff?
What's the dollar amount of this award, Jeff?
Yeah, so it's a 20-year contract term. Initial rents are set, you can see them on the table on page 9 of the board packet. So initial rents for the 8 units come out to about $80,000 a year, and then that would be annual rent for a 20-year term. So they are adjusted annually based on the HUD calculated operating cost adjustment factor. So each year they will be, on average, probably increased by about 2%, depending on what the exact operating cost adjustment factor is that HUD publishes. Or roughly $80,000 annually for 20 years.
And how much of our 7 million capacity that we receive from HUD will this project use?
Yeah, so we have capacity to serve about 150 units. So this is 8 units of those. And we are developing a pipeline of these projects. So in addition to the moving forward teams, which are eligible due to their commitment to serve the IDD population, we are also developing a pipeline through the Indiana Permanent Supportive Housing Institute.
Okay. I would only, and I'm sure Andy would say the same thing for Fort Wayne. I hope you'll look to Southwest Indiana and other parts of Indiana outside the central core for the rest of these projects. Okay.
Certainly. We are hoping to put them where the need is. So.
Anyone have any other questions for Jeff? Okay, Jeff, we'll hear your resolution.
Right. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approve an award of 8 units of Section 811 PRA to Passage LP for Passage Apartments for a period of 20 years with initial rents set at fair market rent and annual rent adjustments based on the HUD published operating cost adjustment factor as recommended by staff.
Mike Schotmeyer, move for approval.
Andy
Okay.
Place second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll start roll call. Mark Pascarella,
Yes.
Kelly Mitchell,
Yes.
June Midkiff,
Yes.
Andy Place,
Yes.
Tom McGowan,
Yes.
Michael Schotmeyer.
Yes.
All right, so hearing no one opposed, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll move on to section D, the monthly update of the tax credit assistance program policy and delegated authority. So please welcome Alan Rakowski to provide that monthly update.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, board. As mentioned here to provide the monthly update on Tcap awards that we've made. As you recall, last September, the board authorized IHCDA's Deputy Executive Director and Chief Real Estate Development Officer to approve additional allocations of Tcap to help fund projects, tax credit projects that have been negatively impacted by cost increases. As part of that, we agreed to provide a monthly update. So since the last board meeting in January, we have 2 projects to update you on. We made 2 awards. The first to Canal Village, which is an Indianapolis deal, awarded $500,000 in Tcap. And the second was Olive Grove Townhomes in New Albany. That was awarded $172,117. So that brings our total approvals to 8 under this program for a total of $3,342,411. And we'll continue to update the board as we continue to make awards. Be happy to take any questions.
Anyone have questions for Alan? Okay, well, thank you, Alan.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate the update. Okay, we'll move on to section 3 of our agenda today under the Finance Department. The first item we have, please welcome Rich Harcourt to present a bond recommendation for Foster's Pershing LP.
Good morning, board. I hope this will be an easy one. So in May of 21, you approved this project, Foster Pershing, which is rehab of 90 units in Newcastle and 24 units here in Indy. And then in July of 21, you approved IHCDA as the issuer of the tax exempt debt. I think it was 7.7 million tax exempt up to 9 and taxable, with the developer using a Federal Home Loan Mortgage Association note. And the developers requested a change in the borrower to go through a private placement with Merchants Capital Corporation. So the request here is just today is to allow the developer to use a private placement vehicle instead of the Fed Home Loan Bank. Staff recommends the board approve the change in loan structure from the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Company tax exempt loan structure to a private placement of bonds through Merchants Capital Corporation.
Okay. Any questions for Rich?
Rich, just out of curiosity, why does that particular change require board approval, just for my understanding?
Tom, that's a good question. We had in the original approval, we said that they were going to use a Federal Home Loan Mortgage Association. So we really had a little debate around whether or not it just needed to go to the board or not. But since it was in our formal resolution, it seemed a simple way to just correct it was to go through the board again.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Would you like me to read the?
Oh, yes, please.
Staff respectfully requests the board to approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the change in loan structure from the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Company tax exempt loan structure to a private placement of bonds through Merchants Capital Corp. Pursuant to the attached resolution as recommended by staff.
Mike Schotmeyer, move for approval.
Tom McGowan, second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. I'll take roll call. Mark Pascarella,
Yes.
Kelly Mitchell,
Yes.
June Midkiff,
David, do I need to abstain? I work technically for Merchants Capital, Merchants Corp. Does that matter?
You could and you'd be okay. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but you could if you feel comfortable doing that, and we'll still be okay.
All right. Then I will abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Andy Place,
Yes.
Michael Schottmeyer,
Yes.
Tom McGowan.
Yes.
Okay. We have no one opposed, one abstention. The motion passes. All right, we'll move on to the next section of our agenda today, where I feel like we're moving right along. We'll move on to the executive part. Please welcome Executive Director Jacob Sipe, who will provide an update.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Yeah, a few updates here to provide you with for the agency. About 2 weeks ago, we did release the 2021 annual report, and it's currently posted on the website. And I'll touch on a few high-level data metrics. I'm really proud of the report that we pulled together this year. Clearly, it doesn't capture everything that we do. However, it's about 43 pages, and even with 43 pages and all the data, it still doesn't capture the entire breadth of the agency. But I'll hit a couple highlights here real quick for you. Last year, we did provide single-family mortgages for just under 2,600 Hoosiers households who purchased a home using IHCDA's product. We generated about $405 million of mortgages is what we did. The average loan amount that was that we were working with was about $160,000 is the average mortgage loan that IHCDA was produced in 2021. In addition to that, we created or preserved through our financing, our capital funds, just over 3,300 affordable rental units. In serving folks for low-income energy assistance, we were just over 98,000 households were served for the energy assistance program. For the emergency rental assistance program, which we launched in about March of last year, we've served almost 17,000 people in 2021 with the emergency rental assistance program. And as we shared with you last month, or I think maybe it was in December, I'm sorry, we did launch the Indiana Housing Dashboard, which is an interactive dashboard that has tremendous amounts of data related to housing. And through that partnership with multiple different associations across our state, it's interactive, and it's also broken down by county. So really proud of that work that we put into this. So I just want to thank the entire staff here at IHCDA for, number one, the work that they did in 2021, but also you can tell that there was a lot of time and effort in making sure that we're providing a very comprehensive annual report with data and a couple of success stories for those who actually use our services and those assistants. So it's about 43 pages. So a really nice report. I'm really proud of the work that we've done there with that. So one of the items that will be on the 2022 report that wasn't on the 2021 report is a new program called the Indiana Homeowner Assistance Fund. It will be providing mortgage assistance for homeowners who have been adversely impacted financially by the pandemic. We're about 2 weeks away from launching that program. So we're on pace to get this program up and going here soon and start accepting applications here. And that will be available at 877gethope.org is the website for the application portal. So, and for, that's coming really soon here. So quick update on the 2023-2024. I know it's kind of odd that you hear me talking about 2024, but we are. The qualified allocation plan, we're proposing it to be a 2-year plan for 2023 and 2024. We've published the second version, so we published 2 versions. A first version to get public comments, make revisions to that, send out a second version to get additional public comments just to make sure that we understand the comments that we're receiving from our partners. And we have a scheduled public hearing coming up on Monday, February 28th. With all that being said, we're on pace to make a recommendation to the board next month for the 2023-2024 qualified allocation plan. So we're planning to have this wrapped up, this process, which is about a good 90 days process. I know we've also took an in-depth took a third party to do an in-depth evaluation of our qualified allocation plan policies and outcomes to get some feedback on continuing to make some policy recommendations on this, working with our housing providers. So, but we'll share more of that with you next month in terms of the new QAP that we would like to recommend to the board. So, Jeff mentioned the Indiana Permanent Supportive Housing Institute. We did announce just before the end of last month the 8 teams that are part of the Institute for this year that will be creating a pipeline of additional permanent housing with wraparound services for those residents and continuing to leverage the 811 award that we received to provide on project-based vouchers for those residents to prevent homelessness. We do have teams that are represented from LaPorte County, Bloomington, Lafayette, Fort Wayne, Hendricks County, South Bend, and we have 2 teams from Indianapolis. We did not receive, Mike, we didn't receive any proposals from any teams from Southwest Indiana or actually Southeast Indiana as well. So we've done a lot of outreach there. Obviously in Vanderburgh County, we've done a lot with permanent supportive housing. We have 4 developments that are active right now. That is second most active county that we have in the state when it comes to permanent supportive housing. So, but I do want to point that out, Mike, because I know you mentioned that earlier. So, but we do have these 8 teams that will start the Institute next month and beginning that, it's about a 4-month training program that will help develop a pipeline of permanent supportive housing over the next few years. So, in addition to the Permanent Supportive Housing Institute, we did release a request for proposals, an RFP, to really take an honest look and evaluate the permanent supportive housing that we've developed across our state. You can see a map on page 23 of the annual report that lays out where these properties are located across our state. You can see somewhat of a good geographic distribution. However, there are some gaps across the state. Specifically, I'll point to Southeast Indiana, where we don't have any permanent supportive housing. And so we need to continue to think about this, but we've brought in a third party. We're going to bring in a third party to actually evaluate the impact that we're having with the permanent supportive housing units that we've created in the properties. So we'll be happy to share that results of that study when that's done with you, hopefully later this year. Or so. Speaking of, some of the challenges around our homeless around our state, on January 26th and January 27th, we coordinate the point in time count, which is part of 91 counties in the state of Indiana. Marion County does their own point in time count. We work with local regional coordinators to facilitate the point in time count for the other 91 counties. And that was done on January 26th and 27th. It's a one-time count, and it's not perfect. It's just a snapshot and point in time of our homeless population. And it's some of the best information that we have, data around historically kind of on this day, on these 2 days, what's our population count. So hopefully we will have that information available, released in a few more months as we consolidate all the information from around the state at the local level. But I want to thank everyone across our state who volunteered to be part of an outreach effort to be part of the count. And specifically internally at IHCDA, I want to thank Grant Peters, Daniela Jordan Gonzalez, and Lori Wood. They were all behind the scenes coordinating with the local groups and volunteers, providing training to ensure that we do the count in a proper way and very sensitive way in how we ask the questions and part of that. So, and that Grant and Daniela and Lori, last summer, they actually took some time to really evaluate the process that we have been using to really find ways to streamline the process in terms of our count and getting that information and make sure that that information is of the highest quality information. And they implemented it this year. So they've done a really nice job with continuing to make sure that the point in time count is as close to quality data as we can get, considering what you're doing in one day. So each year we partner with Prosperity Indiana to recognize an individual who has exhibited exceptional advocacy to further support community economic development across our state. And this year, that is recognized through the Michael Carroll Community Economic Development Leadership Award that we co-present with Prosperity. And I'm just really proud that this year we were able to recognize Janine Betsy to receive that 2022 Michael Carroll Community Economic Development Leadership Award. You know, I've known her for a long time, and she's just a great visionary and leader, public servant for our state, and just really proud and well-deserving award for her. And I'm glad that IHCDA was part of that award program, and to continue to uplift those that choose to be in the affordable housing community development and demonstrate excellence in that work. So just before I wrap up here, I have been doing quite a bit of presentations recently. This week, I'll just give you a couple of examples. This week, I was asked to tomorrow present at the Northern Indiana Mayor's Roundtable. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, talking about some of our programs and some of our initiatives, and sharing a little bit of information about the dashboard, the Indiana Housing Dashboard. And then yesterday, I was also in Johnson County at Aspire Johnson County to present about the agency and some of the work that we're doing here and how that can be relatable in Johnson County so as well. So continue to present and be part of sharing more information about our programs in the annual report, where you can kind of capture and see some of that work that's being done. So the last item that I'll just mention that I always end with is the next board meeting, which is scheduled for March 24th. I think it's time to have an open conversation about considering coming back into person if we would choose to do that. So I think March 24th might be a time that we consider having in-person board meetings again. And I know that we do have a policy on potentially having hybrid board meetings with virtual and in person. And I know Dave is ready to share or remind you or refresh you on what that policy is, if you would like for us to kind of refresh on what a hybrid board meeting might look like with virtual and in person. But I'll leave it up to the board to make that call if we're ready to begin to have in-person meetings again. So I'll pause. Madam Chair, that's my update for this month.
Thank you. Executive Director, is there any comments or questions for Jake?
I have a
Board
couple
Member
comments. Yeah. The 500 million of ready funds that are going out from the state over the next 2 years that are part of the ARPA funds from the Fed are being administered by the IEDC, and they're doing a great job. But they're emphasizing that because of the federal requirements, that there'll be gaps, and housing is of the 19 jurisdictions awarded, part of that 500 million, I think it's most of the 92 counties. Housing is at the very top, Jake, on almost all of them. And there'll be some situations that they're commenting they're going to IEDC work with and bring this agency into it. So I hope you're ready. A couple of years of some pretty keen interest. It's obviously the tough part will be qualifying some of these projects in the baskets that we have as a housing agency. But just everyone be aware of that. I don't know if everyone is. I know Jake is, but that commitment's being made statewide in every jurisdiction. Obviously the border regional cities, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Evansville, New Albany, and then Lake County, Maryville have the largest share, more than half, because of obviously population. and being organized metro areas. So everyone be aware of that, and it's going to be another, again, more burden on this agency. Jake, I don't know if you want to comment. And then on the 24th, I only say that we have spring break in Southwest Indiana earlier than you folks do in Indy. And so the 24th we'll have virtually all of southern Indiana, somewhere in Florida or Arizona. So if you're going to have an in-person meeting, I won't be able to make it.
I can speak to the READY program. We've have been in multiple conversations with IHCDA on that and understand the importance of housing as it relates to regional development. In the QAP that I mentioned that we're proposing, you will see priority giving to READY developments. In addition to that, Lieutenant Governor has HELP program that's also coming down for communities, smaller communities, and that will also be a priority for us as we implement the next QAP to recognize those types of developments that are part of those plans and have been part of those plans from the very beginning. So we do want to make sure that those are priorities for us when we create affordable housing or preserve housing as part of those plans. So in the next QAP that will be taken to you next month, you will see that in there.
It's going to require a lot of creativity, I think, Jake, on how some of these are done, and maybe the projects have to be broken into pieces. I know you've done that before. I'm seeing the one project on Main Street here that I know you're involved with. So also I want to say thank David. The way the package was sent out for this meeting was a lot easier to move through, and to the extent we go with a hybrid meeting, it was much easier to understand. So
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions for Jake?
I just had one quick comment, and I think that dashboard is excellent just in terms of transparency. And I know we're big dashboard folks here, and it's just a great way to understand in real time exactly what's going on. So I commend Jake and his team on that.
Jake or David, as far as the in-person meetings versus the virtual, is it possible that we keep that, excuse me, that order in place that, like a couple of years ago, and we've all lost 2 years here, but a couple of years ago when there was a meeting down in Shelbyville and I was ill that morning and there was kind of a panic because we didn't have a quorum. Is it possible that when we need to draw on that order that we could do that?
Yes, here's the way it works. As you all know, back in March of 2020, this board showed tremendous foresight because we didn't know anything about this, COVID work from home stuff back then. So and we had talked about it since basically I think November of 19 actually. But in March of 2020, we put together a policy, what's called a policy for participation by members of the IHCDA board of directors in board meetings by simultaneous electronic communication. And what that does is allows us to meet by electronic communication, but there are several stipulations. One stipulation is that 3 of the board members have to be at the same location at the time of the meeting. Now, the only reason why we've been able to differ from that in the last few months is because when the governor issues an emergency order in the statute, it explains how that part is to be handled. And that's under Indiana Code Section 5-14, 1.5, 3.7. We're doing what we're doing under 3.6. And that was obviously there before 3.7, but Lieutenant Governor carried some legislation back in the day where this thing came about. We looked at it, we decided which parts of it we wanted to use, because you could go in there and pick and choose which ones work for you. The one that we chose is 3 board members have to be at the same location. So to Mike's point that he mentioned earlier, let's say that next month we decide to have it over here like we did that one time, then as long as we have 3 board members present, the other board members who choose to participate can participate by electronic communication. And Mike, you're very welcome for, I thank you for your comments that you made today about the board meeting. Brian Phillips in our communication division worked very, very hard on that to make sure that, things weren't, pinging off of other things. A lot of it wasn't our problem. It was just our choice of what we used to go forward with. So you would be able to, if you chose, while you were in Florida or wherever you were at, participate in the board meeting, as long as we had 3 other people that were in the same place. And if you remember, June, that's what we did that one time when we had the meeting here. I think Treasurer Mitchell was here too, when we had the board meeting here, the last live one that we had.
Right.
So
Yeah, I sat in David's seat for a lot of other local and regional governmental agencies, and I'm a big advocate for in-person meetings. And I'll be there on April 28th. And it's okay if you want to go the 24th. I'm just signaling to everyone that you're going to have to, I'll be telephonic for that one. I don't know about Andy, so.
Probably the same.
the only thing that we have to do, there's a couple of things that we have to do, housekeeping wise. One is we have to do everything by roll call vote. That's gonna be the same for any type of remote meeting. It's gonna have to be by roll call vote. And the reason for that is that the general public who listen in, they have to know who's making the vote and who's agreeing to it. We can't just say okay or raise our hands or whatever. So they got to hear a voice. But I think that we are set up very well to conduct this the way that we're talking about. Now that Mark has a laptop with a camera, he'll be able to participate too. And so if you would like, I could send you guys copies again of this policy that you voted on back in March. And I can also, if you like, I'll send you a copy of the statute part that ours evolved from. So, but for us having our own policy, we'd have to follow the one in the code, and that one has a few more things in it. If you look at it, it says in there that if you choose to have a policy, which we do, then you can do certain things. If you don't choose to have a policy, then there's some other hoops you have to jump through, but we avoided that by creating our own policy based off the statute.
If you could send that out, David, it'd be appreciated. I was trying, for the 24th meeting, Jake, I'm trying to signal there's a chance I can hook up or I can't, depends on a couple things, but make sure that June and Mark and Kelly can be available, because you're going to need, I knew we had an in-person requirement. And then how many meetings? I'll be there in April, but I can't miss more than 2 in a row, correct? That I have to be in person?
No, you have to attend. This part of the code is very liberal. Every board member has to attend at least 1 in person per year.
Yeah, I'll do better than that.
Well, the good news too is with Indiana Finance Authority being in Indianapolis, I'm sure that I will be one of the many people who can show up in person just because I don't have to travel.
Yeah.
So to save a bunch of emails back and forth for you, David, I'm just kind of signaling, will others be available on the 24th? I may not be. Sounds like Andy will be available by phone, but you're going to need 3 members present, right?
Right. Here's what the we have in our code. Whoever is not going to be at the meeting and is going to be coming through telephonically has to notify the board secretary at least 2 days in advance, and that's in our policy. So, and you're doing it more than 2 days in advance, saying that you won't be there for next month's meeting. And so anyone else, as long as we have a quorum, we're good. And of course, Jake doesn't count, but as long as we have, and I didn't mean to say it like that, Jake, but as long as we have 3 people at the same place, and then we're good. And this recognizes people like Andy and Mike who are in remote parts or different parts of the state, I should say, than Indianapolis, and not being able to make it. And it's the few times that we've used it, it's worked very well for us. And again, I commend this board for having the foresight 2 years ago to put this in place. Otherwise, we'd be treading water and struggling.
Right, any other comments, questions? Well, thank you, Jake, and your team. Of course, thank the board members for all their time they put in as well. Is there any other business to come before the board?
I do have one other comment, Jody.
Okay.
Jake, if the governor continues the disaster, I don't think he will, but if he does, are we still going to try and meet in person, or are we going to continue with the disaster part of the meetings?
I defer that to the board to make that decision if they'd like to meet in person or if they would like us to move to the hybrid model.
Okay. Yeah, the way it is now, the reason why we've been meeting like this, where no 3 have to be in the same place, is because the governor had declared the statewide disaster. If he declares that again for March, then we do have the ability to meet like this, or we can switch to the hybrid, where we're meeting in person, or at least 3 people. So it just depends on what you prefer based on whether or not he does the executive order or not.
From a standpoint of flexibility, wouldn't we move to the hybrid if the order gets changed?
Yes.
Just for flexibility purposes, you just keep it the same way. If the order does get changed, then I would propose move to the hybrid model.
Okay.
Most flexibility for everybody.
Okay.
I agree.
Agree.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, any other business?
Andy,
If not-
please motion to adjourn.
All
You don't need
right,
a motion to adjourn.
hearing no other business, this meeting is adjourned and it is 10:48 a.m. Thank you, board. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you all.
Thank you.